I, Oscar Fingal O'Flaherty Willis Wilde, was born in Dublin, Ireland on October 16, 1854. At the age of 16, I attended Trinity College in Dublin, and later I competed for a scholarship to Oxford University, and I won it. In 1874, at 20 years old, I headed over to England to study at Oxford. And look at me now! I became one of the most popular celebrities in late Victorian England. My dreams came true. And now I'm trying to decide which one of my characters in my plays is the best and most famous. Only 6 of them have been invited to compete. And I chose the fabulous 50s for this game. Things are about to get real. Welcome to Oscar Wilde's Race Extravaganza!
Hello, my name is Lady Windermere, and I am the main character in Lady Windermere's Fan by Mr. Oscar Wilde. Lady Windermere's Fan by Mr. Oscar Wilde was a huge hit on the London West End in 1892. It was a dramatic success Wilde had long craved. The play, Lady Windermere's Fan, opened to a rousing reception. When the audience asked Mr. Wilde to say a few words, he gave his now famous speech. Your appreciation has been most intelligent. I congratulate you on the great success of your performance, which persuades me that you think almost as highly of the play as I do. Lady Windermere's Fan has always had a huge place in Mr. Wilde's heart. It is his most famous play, and therefore, Lady Windermere, his most famous character.
Hello, I am Dorian Gray. I am obviously the most famous character from Mr. Wilde's work. The picture of Dorian Gray is the only novel written by Mr. Wilde. It was a success of a most scandalous kind. Dorian Gray shocked many readers, but still, the book has been adapted into more than 25 different films.
So, you're Mr. Dorian Gray?
Dorian Gray, my dearest friend. My name is Basil Hallward, and I'm the most important character in the picture of Dorian Gray. And I'm here to prove it.
Basil, what are you doing here? He always had a huge crush on me.
Well, I thought this was an excellent opportunity to let the world know about my importance as a character, and of course to show off my enormous influence over Mr. Wilde's work. Dorian Gray is having his portrait painted by Basil Hallward. Yours truly. Means me. Yes, I was infatuated by Dorian's beauty, but let me remind you that Dorian met Lord Henry because of me. Little did I know that once I introduced them, Dorian would become fascinated by Lord Henry's views on life.
Well, I think it's quite brave for you to come and try to compete with the rest of us.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
Whose name is on the cover?
Oh my! You could really use some makeup.
He's a ghost.
Hello, laddie. Me mom gave me the name of Simon, but everybody else calls me Sir Simon. I'm the Canterville Ghost, because guess what? I'm dead. The Canterville Ghost is a humorous short story. It was the first of Wilde's stories to be published. The story is about an American family that moves into a castle haunted by a ghost, me, of a dead English nobleman who killed his wife. The story of the Canterville Ghost has been adapted for theater, operas, TV, and movies several times.
Oh.
Excuse me, sir. Would you mind standing over there? There is this terrible chill that surrounds you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and Lady Windermere.
I'm Gwendolyn Fairfax from Mr. Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. In February 1895, The Importance of Being Earnest, the play many now regard as Oscar Wilde's masterwork, opened in London. This play is brilliant and funny. It rivals anything written by Shakespeare or any other author.
It has been called the second most known and quoted play after Hamlet, of course.
And if you like gossip, here's a little quick one for you to bite on. You see, the successful opening night not only marked the climax of Wilde's career, but also foreshadowed his downfall. You see, the Marquis of Queensberry had a son, Lord Arthur Douglas, who was Wilde's
Bosie.
Yes, Posey's father planned on presenting the writer with some bouquet of rotten vegetables just to disrupt the show. But fortunately, our, let's say, hero was tipped up on time and the Marquis was denied access to the theatre. Their quarrel came to a climax in court, where Wilde's homosexuality was revealed to the Victorian public and he was sentenced to imprisonment. My darling. My goodness.
Hello, I am Ernest Worthing from The Importance of Being Earnest. The Importance of Being Earnest has proven to be Oscar Wilde's most enduring and charming play, filled with witty Victorian expressions and Wilde's own brand of wisdom. In an era of strict social morals, Wilde's version of society was greatly humorous.
Hello, my creations. It's wonderful to see you all gathered here in this room. As you all know, I've been trying to find out which one of you is the most famous character I created. It's been 120 years since I died, and I've been running out of things to do. So I thought it would be a great idea to put you up through some tests and find out which one of you have it to win the title. And to start this competition, let me first tell you a quick story. I was the middle child in one of the most important families in the Irish Society of Dublin. My parents were well-known public figures in Dublin. The parties became a who's who in the Dublin cultural scene, often stretching to more than 100 guests, including celebrities that frequently made their way to the Wilde's famous gatherings. The best of my education was obtained from listening to conversations between my father, my mother, and their remarkable friends, a lot of them artists. Yes, I love art. That's why for your first test, you will have to sum up the story you come from. Some of you will be walking in teams. Gwendolyn and Ernest will be team number 1. Dorian and Basil will be team number 2. Lady Windermere and the Canterville Ghost will be working by themselves.
Well, when you think about it...
I understand what you're saying, but we are supposed to sum up the story, so I think we should leave that part out.
I'll be fine. Once I painted Dorian as he truly was, I started fearing I had put too much of myself into the painting. I worried that my love was too obvious. I only wanted to protect Dorian, and I told him I didn't like Lord Henry's injurious influence over him. My commitment to Dorian, however, which ultimately proved fatal, revealed the sincerity of my love for him and my concern for the safety and salvation of his soul.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any other girl.
I'm quite aware of the fact. Mr. Worthing, we live in an age of ideals, and my ideal has always been to love someone by the name of Ernest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence.
but my darling, you don't really mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest.
But your name is Ernest.
My creations, I hope you're ready for the first test. So, let the competition begin!
It's close to midnight. The Otis family knock on my door. I said I got this and tried to scare their pants off to the floor. They didn't scream. I instantly felt anger and disappointment. 300 years. I never felt before so insulted. I was paralyzed. It's Canterville Ghost. A scare at night. And no one's gonna save you from the beast about to strike. It's Canterville Ghost. A scare at night. Despite my biggest efforts, they just couldn't be scared.
That was interesting and original. Thank you, Sir Simon. I must confess it's a little bit refreshing to have a ghost between the contestants, but as much as I loved it, I have to say the Canterville Ghost is a play too short to compete against me other plays. So, I'm sorry. You have not passed the challenge. You have to go back to the other dimension. Ta-ta.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Wilde. Goodbye.
Our story begins as I was painting the portrait of Dorian Gray. We were not alone, though. Lord Henry Wotton, an arrogant man, was there with us. And as I painted Dorian, he had to listen to Lord Henry talk about his excessive lifestyle.
I kept wondering if beauty was the only aspect of life worth pursuing.
Dorian then started wishing it was the portrait who would age instead of him.
I met the actress Sybil Vane, and we started going out. One night, I invited Lord Henry and Basil to see Sybil perform in Romeo and Juliet. Sybil was a disaster on stage.
Embarrassed, Dorian rejected Sybil and told her that since her acting was all that she could offer, then he didn't love her anymore. Little devil.
At home, I started noticing that the portrait had changed. My wish had come true. The man in the portrait bore a subtle sneer of cruelty. Later that night, Lord Henry informed me that Sybil had killed herself out of despair. I locked up the portrait, and over the following 18 years, I experimented with every bite.
One night, before leaving for Paris, I went to Dorian's house and confronted him about the rumors of his pleasure-seeking lifestyle. He, of course, did not deny the rumors, and
I took Basil to see the portrait.
The portrait had become so hideous. I barely could recognize it, and it was only thanks to my signature that I did. I was horrified, and I begged Dorian to pray for salvation. In anger, he blamed this fate on me, and
I stuck it.
How dare you say it like that?
Yes, he stabbed me.
But he felt bad about it. And returning to London, Dorian told Lord Henry that he would now live a righteous life from then on. Dorian felt he had to destroy the only piece of evidence remaining of his crimes, the picture.
In a rage, I took the knife with which I killed Basil Howard.
Damn you beautiful man.
I stabbed the picture.
Next morning, servants found a disfigured or horrible old man stabbed right in the heart. And they recognized the corpse only thanks to the rings he was wearing. They used to belong to Dorian Gray. Beside him was a portrait now restored to its former appearance of beauty.
Thank you, Dorian and Basil. That was with no doubt one of my favorites. You're still in the competition, of course.
Hello, everybody. It's really nice to see all of you here. So, my story starts the day I was planning my birthday party. So I was really excited, and a friend of mine came over to visit, and she told me that my husband was having an affair with another woman. I was like, friend, thanks for the gift, right? So I went looking for my husband's books, and I found out that this was in fact true. No. Yes, I was enraged. I decided to leave the house at once, immediately. Yes, and go looking for a Viking to have an affair with. Oh, I'm only joking, of course. I already had his number. Anyway, Mrs. Erlin, who I thought was my husband's lover, came looking for me and begged me to return home for the sake of my young child. And I was like, oops, I kind of forgot about the baby, damn. Stop. At the end, the truth was revealed. Mrs. Erlin was, in fact, my mother. What? Yes, you didn't see that coming, did you? Oh, yes, and everything was fine between Lord Windermere and I. Well, we kept our secrets. I never told him about the Viking. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm Lady Windermere, and it was fun to be here with you tonight. And this was Lady Windermere's fan. Lady Windermere, out.
Amazing! Thank you, my dear. Love the comedy. Lady Windermere's fan is indeed one of my favorites. But as much as I love it, I have to tell you I'm sorry. You have not passed to the next round. You are dismissed.
The play opens with Algernon Moncrief.
My cousin.
Yes, her cousin and my best friend. I went over to his house from the country to propose Gwendolyn Fairfax. Algernon refused to conceal until I explained why my secret case bear description from little Cecily with her fondest love to her dear Uncle John. I was then forced to admit living a novel life. In the country, I assumed a serious attitude, and I went by the name of John, while pretending to have a younger brother named Ernest in London. Then, Gwendolyn and her formidable mother, Lady Bracknell, came to visit.
Yes, while Algernon distracted my mother in another room, Ernest proposed to me. I accepted and told him that I loved him in large part because of his name, Ernest.
At that moment, I decided that I had to change my name to Ernest. Lady Bracknell, Gwendolyn's mother, interviewed me, and she was horrified to learn that I was adopted after being discovered as a baby in a handbag at Victoria Station. Meanwhile, in the country, Algernon arrived while pretending to be Ernest Worthing, soon charmed Cecily, my pupil. She fell rapidly for Algernon in his role of Ernest, a name she was apparently particularly fond of. Therefore, Algernon too planned to change his name. By that moment, I decided to abandon my double life. I arrived in the full morning to announce that my younger brother died in Paris of a severe chill, only to find out that Algernon was there pretending to be my brother Ernest.
I ran away from home and went looking for Ernest. When I arrived, during the temporary absence of the two men, I met Cecily, who declared that she was the one engaged to Ernest. I was heartbroken. When Algernon and Ernest reappeared, their lies were exposed. At the end, Ernest finds out that he is Algernon's elder brother and that he would have been named after his father, General Moncrief, and discovered that his father's name, and hence his own real name, was in fact Ernest.
Pretense was reality all along. I now realize for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
Marvelous! You managed to tell the whole story in such a short time. You two are passing to the next round, of course. Now, The next part of the competition, you will be working it as individuals. It's your opportunity to shine and to show how much you know about the person that created you. I will be asking each one of you questions about my personal life. This will be a lightning round. Now, let's begin. How many brothers and sisters did I have?
One older brother called Wilde and a younger sister, Isola Francesca, who died at the early age of 10.
That is correct. She became the subject of one of my earliest published works, the poem Requiescat, the Latin title for a prayer for the dead. I actually carried around a lock of her hair with me for the rest of my life. Let's continue. Trivia question number 2. How many languages did I speak?
2. English and French.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. I studied Greek, was also fluent in German, French, Spanish, aside of my mastery in English language. I'm sorry, Gwendolyn, you are out of the competition. Trivia question number 3. In 1887, I was the editor of a Victorian magazine. What was its name?
The Woman's World.
That is correct. Several bedtime stories I originally told to my sons were published in 1888. What was the name of the collection?
The Happy Prince and other stories that included the Selfie Giant and the Nightingale and the Rose.
Correct. Now, why was people shocked the first time I published the picture of Dorian Gray?
Because there was not enough basil in it.
Wrong. You're out.
The critics rounded on you, accusing you of immorality. What was most striking about the book is how its gay themes were concealed, giving the angels moral standards of the time.
Correct. What was the name of the tragedy? It also caused controversy, and it was banned by the British authorities because it supposedly depicted biblical characters.
Salome.
Excellent. Congratulations, you both made it to the finals. Now, let's see how much you know about the darker side of your creator. Me final years. For the most part, I enjoyed me life. Me good reputation was enhanced by me wit and me flamboyant dress sense. I was known for my colorful bow ties and extravagant hats. I was a successful writer. On May 29th, 1884, I married a woman named Constance Lloyd. Although our family was constantly short of money, I loved being a father. I had 2 sons, Cyril and Vivian. In 1891, I began a relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas. Bosie.
I was drawn to Bosie for several reasons. He was from an aristocratic family. He was young, good-looking, and he showed promise of a sonnet poet. However, his father found out about us and demonstrated in trial his accusations were in fact true. I was charged with 2 years of hard labor. My friends and my wife Constance urged me to escape, but I couldn't do that. I didn't want to leave as a deserter or as a coward. Instead, I went to Cadogan Hotel where I had a room. That afternoon, the police arrested me, charging me for indecent behavior. I found that experience crushing.
Particularly when I was sent to Reading Jail, where conditions were poor. I endured many hardships in prison, walking on a treadmill for 6 hours each day to grind flour and sleeping on a board.
Yet, the humility the prisoners they showed one another deeply moved me. I soon grew popular in there. I arranged for money to be sent to them after they were released. My wife Constance visited me in my late life in prison, to deliver the news of my mom's death. Although we were never formally divorced, she changed her surname to Holland and also the surname of her kids to save them from scandal.
In 1898, I published The Ballad of Reading Gaol, a somber poem that wonders at what might have been, yet perhaps the greatest product of my prison experience is the work now known as the Profundis, meaning from the depths.
I left for France as soon as I was released. My health and my creative spirit were broken. The prison governor at Reading remarked that all men that were not used to hard labor and received this kind of sentence died within 2 years. And he was right. Now, for your final test, you must cheer me up. Though I don't see the point anymore.
Well, I will begin by saying that from the 1960s onward, your work was increasingly seen in a fresh new light. Interpreted as an author worthy of university study, following the decriminalization of homosexuality in Britain in 1965, you became an icon for a whole new generation. As an author, you have left your mark on countless writers, even for people who have never seen one of your plays or read one of your stories. Your name remains a potent symbol. Not only has your life been used to campaign for LGBTIQ+ rights across the globe, but your own actions demonstrated how important it is to stand up for what you believe, even if the odds against you seem overwhelming.
And what about your sons?
Like his older brother, Vivian Wilde, later called Vivian Holland, served in the First World War. Vivian survived and became an author like his father. His only son, Merlin Holland, has spent years of his life studying and examining his famous grandfather's life, your life. And Robbie Ross, your Canadian friend? Long before you met Douglas, you met Robbie Ross. Ross remained close to you for the rest of his life. Upon the death of his father, Boosie inherited his father's estate and title. However, despite the fact that his spending had put you into incredible debt, Douglas denied you an allowance, and he lived the rest of his life in Paris. You died in 1900, and were buried in the Père Lachaise cemetery. Your tomb was commissioned by your longtime love and companion, Robbie Ross.
Now I see this competition is ridiculous.
We are all unique.
Every single character you wrote is wonderful.
There is no best and most famous character in the works of Oscar Wilde.
Because each and every one of them is the best in its own way.
It takes a great deal of courage to see the world in all its tainted glory and still love it.